Shalom Aleichem Rabosai, I hope all is well. By the time you're seeing this, so you'll be holding a couple of days before the Chag Shavuos. Obviously, I'm still holding Sfiras Omer, but let's talk about a couple of ideas regarding Chag Shavuos, Zman Matan Toratenu, and then hopefully we get a better understanding of what's ahead of us. The Gemara in Daf Peches in Shabbos is a famous Gemara, pretty well known, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, during the time of Matan Torah, took the mountain and put it over Bnei Yisrael's head and said, if you accept the Torah, great. And if you don't accept the Torah, so I'm going to drop it on your head. Let's just read the Gemara very quickly because there are a couple of nuances and a couple of questions arise. It's a Gemara in Shabbos and Daf Peches and Aleph. Pasuk says, "Vayisyatzvu b'sachti sahar." They stood literally underneath the mountain, and that's why the Gemara says, "Amar Rav Avdimi bar Chama bar Chasa, Malamed shekafa HaKadosh Baruch Hu aleim et ahar gigis." We learn that HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned the mountain upside down. Kafa aleim Har, the mountain was turned upside down. Kigigis. Gigis is a barrel. Okay. The Amar Lahem, and he said to them, Imatem mekablim es Torah. If you accept the Torah, mutav. Great. V'im lav, but if you don't, sham teikvu raschem. There will be your burial ground. And I heard a couple of questions from Rabbi J.J. Schechter when I was in Azrieli graduate school. He said the following. First of all, what's with the barrel? Right? I would imagine if the Gemara was going to say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu forced Bnei Yisrael to accept the Torah, so he took the mountain and he held the mountain over their heads. Why do you need to tell me that he flipped the mountain over like a barrel? That seems to be very extraneous. Secondly, the Gemara says, the Gemara says, Sham teikvu raschem, there will be your burial ground, which is also strange because you would expect the HaKadosh Baruch Hu to say, here will be your burial ground. So Rabbi J.J. Schechter says a beautiful pshat. There are many answers to this question, but he says something fantastic. When you're sitting in the sukkah, for example, and sukkah's time there are bees, and for example, if you haven't done this, somebody in your family's done this. You take a cup. Imagine you take a cup and you trap a bee inside of it. Right? You turn the cup upside down and you trap the bee inside of it. What happens to that bee? So it doesn't die right away. Right? It flies around for a while, and then eventually, when it runs out of air, so then it doesn't make it. So that was what HaKadosh Baruch Hu was telling Bnei Yisrael. All right, here's the Torah. I'm going to tell you how the world works. If you accept the Torah, great. If you don't accept the Torah, you're going to go the way of all the nations in the world. You're going to go the way of all the nations that have disappeared into history. You'll have a little bit of glory days, and then you'll die out, like the Romans, Greeks, Persians, etc. But if you take the Torah is the life source. The Torah is what will keep you going through all the dark times. The Torah is literally your air, the air that the bee doesn't get when he's inside the cup. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu kaf aleim har kigigis. He took the mountain, held it over their heads, turned it upside down like a barrel, and said, if you accept the Torah, great. If not, I'm going to trap you inside, kiviyachol, like as a mushal, and you're not going to have what to breathe eventually later on. And that's why the Gemara says, sham teikvu raschem. There, later on, will be your burial ground. And I thought, if that's true, so first of all, it answers the question, how in the world, right, we're familiar with the question, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu forced us to accept the Torah, so why are we celebrating? Right, so I think that shot, first of all, helps with that. I mean, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't force us to take the Torah. He said, here's the deal, this is how the world works, this is how I've created my universe. The Torah is Itz Chaim Hi L'ma Chazikim Ba. It is the life source for all existence. If you want it, great. If you don't want it, so that's frustrating, and you won't do so well. The continuation of the Gemara works out and helps as well if you understand the Gemara that way, because the Gemara says like that. Amarava, Afal Pikein, even though Bnei Yisrael were forced into accepting the Torah, Kiblu b'mei Achashverosh, they accepted it again in the times of Achashverosh during Purim. Dechtiv Kimu v'Kiblu Hayudim. That they re-accepted, the Gemara says, Kimu mashi kiblu kvar. They re-accepted what they had accepted already. So if you understand that Bnei Yisrael at the Har Sinai understood how the world worked, they realized that the Torah is what's going to keep them going. So Purim was the first time they experienced this in reality. Up until Purim, they were never threatened with a total annihilation, with a threat to their existence. Haman obviously wanted to wipe them all out. And Bnei Yisrael, what was their response? Sackcloth, fasting, davening. Right? Bnei Yisrael had 3 days fasting for Esther. Right? Mordechai is wearing sackcloth. It wasn't a natural response. It It was a response of crying out to Kosh Baruch Hu, of focusing on the Torah more. And what happened? They saw a nace, they saw Yeshua. They saw that the Torah truly gave them the ability to go forward, even in the face of mortal danger. They understood, even though Kosh Baruch Hu had told them what the deal was at Shavuos, in Purim time they reaccepted that because they realized for the first time that the emes of what the Torah actually was. It enabled them to keep on going. So on Shavuos, we celebrate that. We celebrate that first understanding that this is a world that Kosh Baruch Hu created, that the Torah is our life source to navigate the physical. And perhaps this can also help us understand the Gemara in Pesachim. Gemara in Pesachim, Daf Samech Ches, has machlokes how to celebrate Yontif. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Rabbi Eliezer is of the opinion, Ein lo la'adam b'yontif ela o ochel v'shosa o yoshev v'shona. Rabbi Eliezer says it should be all or nothing. Either you eat and drink all day, celebrating the Yontif, or you should sit and learn all day. And Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yeshua says no, chelkeu, split it. Chatzio o achil shtia, chatzio lebeis hamedrash. You should spend part of the day in the base, and part of the day eating and having a good meal. Right? It's a phrase that you perhaps know, kulu Hashem, or kulu lachem. That's Rabbi Eliezer. They should be entirely for you, or entirely for Hashem. And Rabbi Yeshua is of the opinion of chatzio l'Hashem and chatzio lachem, that you should split it back and forth. But the Gemara says something fascinating. By Shavuos, Amar Rabbi Elazar, hakol modim batzeres. Everybody agrees that on Shavuos, be'ina nami lachem. You need an aspect for you. You need a meal. You need ochel v'shosa. You need to have some sort of the celebration for the Chag to be for you. Now, on Shavuos, I would have thought the exact opposite is true. On the day we get the Torah, so what better way to celebrate than learning the Torah all day? Right? I would have expected the Gemara to say, on Shavuos, everybody agrees that you need some aspect of learning. The Gemara says, no, on Shavuos, you need some aspect of lachem for you. Question is, why? What does that have to do with anything? Why should you have to celebrate in a physical manner on Shavuos? But that's exactly the point, that Kosh Baruch Hu on Shavuos told us how the world works. This is a physical world. I'm giving you the Torah that will keep you going, yes, but realize that you're planted inside a physical world. There are things that in this world for you to uplift. And perhaps that will also help. I heard a very beautiful explanation about the pasuk in Maaseh, by Rabbi Shai Shechter. Rabbi Shai Shechter is Rav Hershel Shechter's son. It's very similar to him. I listen to his shiurim all the time. And he said a very beautiful observation, and it's this idea that Kosh Baruch Hu gave us this physical world, and we're supposed to be Mekadesh it, and we're supposed to do that up until today. And that the events of Matan Torah were not just that Kosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah. He told us this is how the world works. This is how your life is supposed to be. This is how I created the world, and this is how I will continue. The world exists in this pattern. And this is what you have to commemorate every Shavuos. And Rabbi Shai Shechter points out very beautifully. If you look in the travels of Bnei Yisrael and Parshas Masai, so the Torah lists off a bunch of random places, a lot of the significant milestones that Bnei Yisrael had in the Midbar. One thing it does not mention, fantastically enough, is Ma'amad Har Sinai. It does not mention the giving of the Torah. It mentions in Mara, when Bnei Yisrael didn't have water. It mentions the death of Aaron. It does not mention Matan Torah. And perhaps said Rabbi Shai Shechter, and I thought it was a beautiful idea, and this, again, goes with what we've been saying, is that Ma'amad Har Sinai was not stoic. It was not static. It was for generations. It was not something that happened. We're listing off things that happened to us in the Midbar. No, it's something that happens every year and happens all the time. Right? Ma'amad Har Sinai, Kosh Baruch Hu telling us, this is how I want you to live your life. There's a Torah, there's a guidelines, right? There is a way, there's a derech HaTorah that we're supposed to live our lives. Right? There's a physical world that we interact with, but the Torah is what's going to keep us going. And that's something that we have to relive every Shavuos. Every Shavuos, when we stay up all night, right? That's not the way to learn the most Torah, right? The way to learn the most Torah is to get some rest and get up early and keep on learning throughout the day. But when we stay up all night, we show Kosh Baruch Hu how much we care, how much we love the Torah, how much we realize that this is what you wanted from us, to live our lives learning Torah, interacting with the physical world, and using Torah as the thrust of our lives. And Mitzvah Hashem, this Shavuos, we all be zocha to really understand that, and really understand that even though we have all these other crazy things going on in our lives, the Torah is primary. The Torah is what's going to keep us going. Yitzchayim hi lamachazikim ba. a great Yom Tov.